Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I have a video for you courtesy of one of my viewers, 7 Green Heads, and he is playing, or they are playing, their Tier 6 Japanese battleship, the Fuso, in Ranked. And from seeing the result screens, looks like it was a pretty good game, so I hope I'm in for a bit of a treat. Now, you'll notice this is on Big Race, and there's only one cap, and I didn't even know that there were ranked battles where this is the case, and part of that's I just personally didn't play any of the lower ranks this season. I started at rank 13, and I'm happy to say I'm now at rank 1, I'm done the season, and I can get back to focusing on some of the other videos I've been putting off, like a York review for one of my viewers who requested it, and I'm going to be doing a Izumo review as well, because I've had her for a while, just about fully upgraded, and really feel I've kind of settled into the playstyle. So I think it's about time I get that out, because soon enough the British ships are going to be here, and I'll have a whole new line to focus on. So 7 Green Heads team is doing something I never like seeing in Ranked, and that's they're kind of splitting up. Now, the ships on the eastern flank, at least 2 of them are heading this direction, but you can see how spread out the team is, whereas the enemy team is all nice, kind of tightly grouped. And the difference is when the destroyers get spotted, or spotting, you know, this one of the cruisers or a battleship could get left out alone. Is when you're grouped like that, it becomes harder to focus down a single target, but they're also, the enemy team, going to probably have a bit of an easier time focusing down a single target on 7's team. And I do have to say, the Fuso is one of my more liked Tier 6 battleships. The Bayern definitely is up there as well, but they kind of fill different roles. The Fuso is a bit better of a sniper, the Bayern is a much better brawler. What I do love about the Fuso is just those 6 gun turrets. You're able to really separate your fire up, aim at, you know, more than one target, and you can also use 1 or 2 turrets for ranging and still have 8 barrels left of damage to deal. So she's a very flexible ship, and I do greatly enjoy that about her. And her secondaries and overall speed and performance are adequate. She's a little lacking in anti-air, but New Mexico's really, I guess the Bayern has pretty solid anti-air as well. So you can really start to see now how separated this team is getting. And one battleship's way off on its own. They can't really be contributing effectively to this battle there. And it'll be easy enough to get picked off. And what you worry about here is that lone DD way up there getting spotted by the Mitsuki and ripped apart. Because if that happens, there goes their spotting, and when they're this spread out, you can die very quickly if you don't get some lucky shots and wipe a couple ships out quickly. They do have an early lead though, 340 points. They got A and managed to hold it for at least a little bit before the enemy team pushed in, but unfortunately right now 7's got nothing to shoot at. Now, personally, right here, I would be shooting at the destroyer. I really feel that it doesn't matter what class ship you are, when destroyers are spotted, if you have shots on them, you take them at the destroyer. And it becomes so important in high tier, because the high tier destroyer players, you know, in the upper ranks, are very good at their job for the most part. There's a few bad apples, but, you know, they know how to maximize and use their concealment to the greatest of the ability, and if you have them spotted in shots and don't take them, that may be your only chance to get them that whole battle. Whoa! And that's a chappie, or not a chappie, a buddy just gone. 3 citadels, and those landed pretty far forward in what I jokingly call the supercritical toilet paper compartment, because at least on all the ships I sailed on, the only things that were up in front of the guns in the bow there were kind of the cleaning supplies that it didn't matter if they got beat around being so far forward, and you didn't need to go, you know, access them, but they take up a lot of space, stuff like toilet paper. So clearly super critical to a ship's operation, and that's why it's a citadel. But realistically, I think those actually went into the turret. It just seems so often, you know, you go right through the tip of the bow, or at least visually that's where the shell goes, and you get a citadel somehow. That was big damage and definitely puts 7 Green Heads team ahead. This Arizona on the enemy team is caught out alone, and they're not going to be in a happy place here in a couple seconds. First 3 turrets, just about 5,000 damage. Next volley, another 5,000, and a temporary knockout of one of the guns. And you can see them kind of getting focused down, though, because of how spread out the green team is. That Arizona really isn't getting the same kind of focus fire that you see a lot when you end up alone. But they eat some torps, and that ends them. So the scores are now tied, 360 a team. The enemy team's got the cap, but 7's team has got the lead, at least on kills, and you can often make up a cap point difference. You don't have to freak out early, but at the same time you have to be conscious of it and be at least moving towards one of the cap and preparing for a push as a team. And as I said before, here DD's spotted, definitely take shots at the DD. Unfortunately, those were a little aimed back, and they all miss. They get spotted again, and I really do hope 7 continues to shoot at them, because, as I said, it's just so critical. And the Mitsuki, well, maybe not everyone's favorite destroyer, is still a very effective ship. And you see 7 Green Heads waiting for that Mitsuki to hopefully keep turning and really give a more ideal shot. There the turn is. And there's the volley, 7,000 damage, just about wiping that Mitsuki out. And when you leave a destroyer on that many hit points, you force them to play conservative, because all it takes at that point is 1 secondary shell and they're done. So, you know, it may not have been a kill, but still very important damage done, and I really think it will cause that destroyer to back off. Side-on shot to a New Mexico, who's more or less stationary, which is just not a good idea, and there's 8,500 damage. And they're pretty much dead too, so I think pretty quick here you're going to see the enemy team start to evaporate. There goes the New Mexico eating a torpedo that really didn't need to do that much damage to finish him off. And I'm willing to bet this Nuremberg is next. 8.5 kilometers away, side on to a battleship. And those shells are looking pretty good. 8,700 damage, no citadels. 1 citadel there, and that Nuremberg was done, but they got away. And sometimes I think thin armor has a way of helping you survive just because shells overpen. But they drove aground, and you know that's going to be the end of them. Easy shot there. 3 overpens, but more than enough damage to wipe that Nuremberg off the map, and this game is looking like a pretty solid lock for 7 Green Heads team if they can get into that cap. Even though they've been wiping the enemy team out, they're still nearly 300 points behind. And at this point, if I were the enemy team, I'd be positioning myself here or back here, one person trying to maintain sight lines onto that cap, because you don't need to kill ships to win. You have to stay alive, and you just have to make sure that 7's team can't get the cap. And all that takes is a volley once in a while. Massive shot there again by 7, and that New Mexico's put themselves into a bad position. I think they felt the pressure of the team melting and went, oh, I've got to get to A and defend it. But you don't have to be in a cap to defend it. No destroyers left on 7's team, which means, you know, battleship detectability and destroyers going in there, you could be sitting in a much safer location where you can choose at least one angle. Like where that Warspite right now is, really the only ship that has good shots at them is this Arizona. 7 certainly doesn't, that cruiser doesn't, and I don't think the New Mexico does. So they can work on a single target, and he's got no reason to come charging out of there like that. And I really do think the enemy team had a chance to still win this. They just had to keep their heads on their shoulder and realize we've got 300 point lead. We don't have to do anything crazy. You know, 7's team had to get into the cap and cap it. And maybe a player makes a mistake, but instead they charged in one after the other, and they're both going to die and they're going to lose this game. And you see so many people in ranked kind of do this. They've got a good point lead. Just ride the lead. Like, don't be forced into a bad situation until you absolutely have to be. Try to keep the odds in your favor and control the engagement. And when you've got the point lead, you definitely can control the engagement. It's not the greatest shot at the Warspite here. They're angled well. Still 2,800 damage, and that gets 7 Green Heads Confederate. And this game is pretty much over. One more solid volley on that Warspite, and they're going to be dead. And there they go. And that was a really solid game for 7 Green Heads. 263,000 credits, 2,500 experience, Confederate First Blood, Devastating Strike, High Caliber, and just about 95,000 damage. I really enjoyed watching this, and I enjoyed watching really anyone's replays. And if you're a subscriber, you watch any of my videos, please send them to my email address listed up in my YouTube information. And maybe you'll end up on my channel, and because I do really enjoy commenting on these. If you enjoy this, please consider giving me the thumbs up or a subscription. Both help me out and keep me motivated. And we're nearly at that 250 subscriber mark where I've got a small giveaway for those who are subscribed. As always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys later.